Hello, my name is Antoine. Welcome back to the channel if you're returning, and welcome to my Dharma path. Chapter 9 of the Lotus Sutra, where the Buddha turns to the learners, the adepts, the quiet seekers still climbing the mountain. This isn't just prophecy, it's cosmic encouragement. Burton Watson's translation brings the sutra's heartbeat to life, and we're here to feel it. So settle in, let the Dharma ripple through your subtle body. You're not forgotten, you're foretold. There's a link to the Burton Watson Lotus Sutra on the channel. It looks like this. I'm reading chapter 9 today. Before I start, I'm going to ask the chat bot a question about the difference between two things.
Welcome back, Antoine. You're welcome, Antoine.
Anytime. What is the difference between the verse and prose form in the Lotus Sutra, and why are they used?
Verse in the Lotus Sutra is more poetic and rhythmic, helping to emphasize key teachings in a memorable way. Prose, on the other hand, is straightforward and narrative, providing clear explanations. Using both styles ensures that the teachings are accessible and resonate with people of different capacities.
Can you explain the difference between the correct law and the counterfeit law?
The correct law refers to the true, unaltered teachings of Buddhism that lead to enlightenment. The counterfeit law, on the other hand, represents distorted or shallow interpretations that miss the essence. The distinction serves as a caution to preserve the purity and depth of the teachings. Want to dive deeper into how these concepts play out?
Who is Ananda, and how is he connected to Shakyamuni Buddha?
Ananda was Shakyamuni Buddha's cousin and close disciple. Known for his exceptional memory, he played a key role in preserving the Buddha's teachings. Ananda's connection to the Buddha exemplifies devotion, and his efforts were crucial in transmitting the Dharma. He's a fascinating figure in Buddhist history.
What is Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi, and how is it different from Nirvana?
Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi is the ultimate perfect enlightenment, representing the highest spiritual attainment. It's the complete awakening that the Buddha achieved. Nirvana, on the other hand, often refers to the liberation from suffering and the cycle of rebirth. While Nirvana is a key aspect of enlightenment, Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi embodies the peak of spiritual realization. Intriguing stuff, right?
One more thing. What is lapis lazuli, and why is it mentioned in the 9th chapter of the Lotus Sutra?
Lapis lazuli is a deep blue gemstone often linked to healing and spiritual insight. In the Lotus Sutra's 9th chapter, it's used as a metaphor for purity and value, symbolizing the preciousness of the teachings. It's a poetic way to underline the profound importance of the Dharma. Interested in how these metaphors weave into the broader teachings?
No, I'm just getting the explanation for the viewers. I'm going to read now chapter 9, Prophecies conferred on learners and adepts. There's a link on the channel to the Burton Watson translation. At that time, Ananda and Rahula thought to themselves, whenever we reflect, we consider how delightful it would be if we should receive a prophecy of enlightenment. Immediately they rose from their seats, advanced to a position in front of the Buddha, touched their heads to the ground, and bowed to the Buddha's feet. Together they spoke to the Buddha, saying, World-honored one, we too should have a share of this. We have put all our trust in the thus come one alone, and we are all well known to the heavenly and human beings and asuras of all the world. Ananda constantly attends the Buddha and guards and upholds the Dharma storehouse, and Rahula is the Buddha's son. If the Buddha should bestow on us a prophecy that we will attain Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi, then our wishes will be fulfilled, and the longings of the multitude will likewise be satisfied. At that time, 2,000 of the voice-hearer disciples, both learners and adepts, who had nothing more to learn all rose from their seats, bared their right shoulders, advanced to a position in front of the Buddha, pressed their palms together with a single mind, and gazing up in reverence at the world-honored one, repeated the wish expressed by Ananda and Rahula, and then stood to one side. At that time the Buddha said to Ananda, in a future existence, you will become a Buddha with the name Mountain Sea Wisdom, unrestricted power, king, thus come one, worthy of all offerings of right and universal knowledge, perfect clarity and conduct, well gone understanding the world, unexcelled, worthy and trainer of people, teacher of heavenly and human beings. Buddha, world-honored one, you will offer alms to 62 million Buddhas and will guard and uphold the Dharma storehouses. And after that you will attain Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi. You will teach and convert Bodhisattvas as numerous as 20,000, 10,000 million Ganges sands, and will cause them to attain Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi. Your land will be named Ever-Standing Victory Banner. Its soil will be clean and pure and made of lapis lazuli. The Kalpa will be named Wonderful Sound, filling everywhere. The lifespan of that Buddha will be immeasurable, thousands, 10,000s, millions of ashmakas of kalpas. Though men should calculate and reckon for thousands, 10,000s, millions of immeasurable ashmuka of kalpas, they could never ascertain the full number. The correct law will endure in the world for twice the lifespan of the Buddha, and the counterfeit law will endure in the world for twice the time of the correct law. Ananda, this mountain sea wisdom, unrestricted power, King Buddha, will be praised alike by thus come ones of the 10 directions who are equal in number, to immeasurable thousands, 10,000s, millions of Ganges sands. And they will extol his blessings.
Change the subject.
At that time, the world-honored one, wishing to state its meaning, once more spoke in verse form, saying, I now say to the monks that Ananda, upholder of the law, will give alms to the Buddhas, and after will achieve correct enlightenment. His name will be Mountain Sea Wisdom, unrestricted power king. His land will be clean and pure. Name, ever-standing victory banner. He will teach and convert Bodhisattvas in numbers like Ganges sands. This Buddha will possess great dignity and virtue. His renown will fill the 10 directions. His lifespan will be immeasurable because he takes pity on living beings. His correct law will endure for twice his lifespan. His counterfeit law, twice that again. As numerous as Ganges sands will be the countless living beings who in the midst of the Buddha's law will plant causes and conditions leading to the Buddha way. At that time in the assembly, 8,000 Bodhisattvas who had newly conceived the determination to attain enlightenment all thought to themselves, we have never heard of even a great Bodhisattva receiving a prophecy such as this. For what reason should these voice hearers receive such a prediction? At that time, the world-honored one, knowing the thought that was in the mind of these Bodhisattvas, said to them, Good men, when Ananda and I were at the place of Void King Buddha, we both at the same time conceived the determination to attain Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi. Ananda constantly delighted in wide knowledge of the law. I constantly put forth diligent effort, therefore I have already succeeded in attaining Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi, while Ananda guards and upholds my law. And he will likewise guard the Dharma storehouses of the Buddhas of future existences, and will teach, convert, and bring success to the multitude of Bodhisattvas. Such was his original vow, and therefore he has received this prophecy. When Ananda, in the presence of the Buddha, heard this prophecy delivered to him, and heard of the land and adornments he was to receive, All that he had vowed to achieve was realized, and his mind was filled with great joy, for he had gained what he had never had before. Immediately he recalled to mind the Dharma storehouses of immeasurable thousands, 10,000s, millions of Buddhas of the past, and he could fully comprehend them without hindrance, as though he had just now heard them. He also recalled his original vow. At that time, Ananda spoke in verse form, saying, "The world-honored one, very rarely met with, has caused me to recall the past, the law of immeasurable Buddhas, as though I had heard it today. Now I have no more doubts, but dwell securely in the Buddha way. As an expedient means, I act as attendant, guarding and upholding the law of the Buddhas." At that time, the Buddha said to Rahula, "In a future existence, you will become a Buddha with the name stepping on 7 treasure flowers, thus come one, worthy of offerings of right and universal knowledge, perfect clarity and conduct, well-gone understanding, the world unexcelled, worthy, trainer of people, teacher of heavenly and human beings, Buddha, world-honored one. You will offer alms to the Buddhas, and thus come ones as numerous as the dust particles of 10 worlds. In all cases, you will be the eldest son of those Buddhas, just as you are my son now. The adornments of the land of stepping on 7 treasure flowers, Buddha, the number of kalpas in his lifespan, the disciples he converts. His correct law and counterfeit law will not differ from those of the dust come one mountain sea wisdom, unrestricted power king. You will be the eldest son of that Buddha, and after that you will attain Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi. At that time the world-honored one, wishing to state his meaning, once more spoke in verse form, saying, "When I was crowned prince, Rahula was my eldest son. Now that I have gained the Buddha way, he receives the Dharma and is my Dharma son. In existences to come, he will see immeasurable millions of Buddhas. As eldest son to all of them with a single mind, he will seek the Buddha way. The covert actions of Rahula I alone am capable of knowing. He manifests himself as my eldest son, showing himself to living beings with immeasurable millions, thousands, 10,000s of blessings beyond count. He dwells securely in the Buddha's law, and thereby seeks the unsurpassed way. At that time, the world-honored one observed the 2,000 learners and adepts, mild and gentle in will, serenely clean and pure, gazing at the Buddha with a single mind. The Buddha said to Ananda, "Do you see these 2,000 learners and adepts?" "Yes, I see them." "Ananda, these persons will offer alms to Buddhas, and thus come ones equal in number to the dust particles of 50 worlds, paying honor and reverence to them, guarding and upholding their Dharma storehouses. In their final existence, they will all at the same time succeed in becoming Buddhas in lands in the 10 directions. All will have the identical designation, being called jewel sign, thus come one worthy of offerings, of right and universal knowledge, perfect clarity and conduct, well-gone understanding the world, unexcelled worthy trainer of people, teacher of heavenly and human beings, Buddha, world-honored one. Their lifespan will be 1 kalpa, and the adornment of their lands. Their voice hearers and bodhisattvas, correct law and counterfeit law, will in all cases be the same." At that time, the world-honored one, wishing to state his meaning, once more spoke in verse form, saying, "These 2,000 voice hearers who now stand in my presence, on all of them I bestow a prophecy, that in a future existence they will become Buddhas. The Buddhas to whom they offer alms will be numerous as the dust particles described above. They will guard and uphold the Dharma storehouses, and after that will gain correct enlightenment. Each will have a land in one of the 10 directions, and all will share the same name and designation. All at the same time will sit in the place of practice, and thereby will gain proof of unsurpassed wisdom. All will be named jewel sign and their lands and disciples. Their correct law and counterfeit law will be identical and without difference. All will employ transcendental powers to save living beings in the 10 directions. Their renown will spread everywhere around, and in due time they will enter nirvana. At that time, the 2,000 learners and adepts heard the Buddha bestow this prophecy. They danced for joy and spoke in verse form, saying, World-honored one, bright lamp of wisdom, we hear your voice bestowing this prophecy, and our hearts are filled with joy, as though we were bathed in sweet dew. That's the end of chapter 9. Thank you for listening. If you listened all the way through, and just like that, the prophecy lands again. The Buddha sees you. The Sutra speaks to you. If this reflection resonated, drop your thoughts below in the form of a comment. What does your path look like today? Subscribe for more mythic transmissions and spiritual synthesis. The journey continues. The prophecy is alive. Let me give you some Sanskrit terms. Śrāvaka is a voice hearer. That's someone who achieves enlightenment by listening. Pratyekabuddha, a solitary Buddha who awakens without a teacher. Bodhisattva, an enlightened being who guides others. Kalpa, a vast cosmic time span. Imagine countless billions of years as the Kalpa. Tathagata, thus come one, the title for the Buddha. Anuttara Samak Sambodhi, supreme perfect enlightenment. Dharma, cosmic law, Buddhist teachings. That's the Dharma. Samsara is the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth. You might think of samsara as a matrix. Upaya, skillful means, compassionate strategy. And samadhi, deep meditative absorption. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for listening.